So a couple things. First, here's what we have for our agenda today. First, we'll be discussing the opportunity that we have in Germany, more so your opportunity that you'll have in Germany, what's attractive about it, why it's so great to get started early here in Germany. And then we'll be discussing a little bit more about getting your channel started in Germany, whether you're an existing developer that already has a channel on the Roku channel store, or if you're new to Roku development in general. We'll have a little bit of input on both ways, and hopefully there won't be too many questions afterwards as to what or how to get started there. And then we'll be discussing a little bit more about search in Germany, what's different about search in Germany compared to our other channel stores, and what's required there. It's a little bit different. It's not too much, but there are some small nuances. And then lastly, we'll be discussing Roku Pay in Germany, what's different about Roku Pay in Germany, how you can get your products up in the German channel store, and how to target that specific audience in Germany with it as well. And then finally, at the end, we'll be doing a QA session to answer any questions that you guys may have afterwards. So a quick note here, this is the QA code that we have. So if you aren't already in the QA room, just scan this and then you can post your questions in there. So to start off, this is currently a map of where Roku is currently in. As you can see that we have a broad audience here in the US, in the Americas, and we've just so expanded into Germany. We're super excited to announce this to you. Hopefully some of you are already on there, or some of you are already looking to get started. This presentation will help you streamline your development towards getting your content out in Germany. So a quick thing about why Germany is so attractive to be on right now is because they're actually the biggest TV market in Europe. And that's something that's really good to get in early on, because in Germany, 83% of people that are 14 and above are using online video to stream things. And there's a high affinity to keep growing still on that end. And about 38.5 million households are TV households in Germany. So it's definitely a great market to expand into. So we highly encourage that you get your content out there as soon as possible. So we'll do some quick notes on getting started with your channel in Germany. It's not too much different from our other processes of publishing channels, but there are a small couple of things that you will have to prepare beforehand. The first thing you'll need are channel ratings, what type of demographic that you want to target. So in our developer portal, which I'll be showing you later, some more pictures of, you'll be choosing what age group or demographic of audience that you want to target with your channel. This will help you a lot with your channel's visibility. So it's a good idea to be pretty meticulous about this when choosing what target audience that you will be selecting your channel for. Not only does it help Roku market your channel, but just having your channel visibility out there for that specific audience really helps promote your own brand as well. Next is you'll need a privacy policy URL. For direct publisher channels, this is required. In the creation process of your direct publisher channel, it'll ask for this. This is mainly the biggest thing that you need to input for your direct publisher channels for it to get accessed in Germany. For normal SDK channels, you'll be providing a privacy policy URL. I'll show where to input it later, but it's mainly for monetizing your ads. It is still required even if you don't have ads. So make sure you do have a privacy policy URL prepared, and then you'll input that in your developer process for creating a channel. After that, you'll need some localized assets. These would be descriptions for your channel, artwork, channel title, or anything that might be different. I'll show you in the developer dashboard later where you can input these localized assets. And they're just smart to have because if you're publishing your channel in Germany, you might want to tailor your channel towards a German audience. And if you aren't, it's perfectly fine to port over existing pictures for you or channel artwork that you have in an existing channel store already. That's completely optional, but the option is there should you choose to do so. And finally, some other things that you may need are localized products and content ratings for search. Localized products are specifically for Roku Pay is what I'm talking about. Should you choose to add new products for Roku Pay, specifically for a German audience, subscriptions on that end or anything, I'll be showing you how to add those later, or even change things for existing products that you might have. And then some content ratings for search. Quick note there is that content ratings are mandatory in search in Germany. We'll be discussing that a little bit more later, but you should make sure that you have those prepared beforehand when you go into your channel creation process. So next, we will be discussing the first part of getting your channel ready in Germany. For existing developers, you'll be going to your developer dashboard. For new developers, you can sign up on the developer program by going to developer.roku.com. Once you've signed up through that developer program, you'll be able to access the same developer dashboard that I'm talking about. And in that developer dashboard, you would just navigate over to the Manage Channel section, and this will be the screen that you come to. So your two options here, once you've gotten to this Manage Channel section, is to either add a channel or to update an existing one. Should you choose to update an existing one, the landing pages may be a little bit different once you get into them, and I'll be discussing how you can mirror the same channel creation process to update the right things that you'll need to get your channel up in Germany. So the first page that we're looking at here is the first landing page that you'll be taken to if you choose to create a new channel in the developer dashboard. For existing users, if you've decided to update your already existing channel, you would just go over to properties and into the channel store section. What this picture represents is all the channel stores that your content will be in on the Roku platform. You can see here in my picture that I've selected the United States, France, Germany, Ireland, and the United Kingdom. You can choose to do so to select whichever regions you'd like to be in or not. I would just look into each individual region to see what you might need for those regions. Specifically today, we'll be talking about the United States and Germany as the two regions that we're editing, because a lot of the developers that we have expanding into Germany already have existing instances on the US channel store. So the next part of the channel creation process is actually on the same page. On the same page of that developer page for selecting what region you want to be in, on the right-hand side, you'll actually come across what I was discussing a little bit earlier, which is the channel age demographics that you would be targeting. I highly encourage this. I can't stress this enough, to select the correct target audience that you want, because this helps Roku market your channel and shows more visibility for your channel. So be sure to look over and read over this on which target audience that you want. For existing developers, this still exists in the channel store section. For creating a new channel, this is the next step in the process that you'll be taken to. And on this page, once you've selected that target audience, it'll let you proceed to the next step, which is where you input your privacy policy URL, which is right underneath this actually. It's on the same page here, and you'll just copy paste that privacy policy URL, and you should be good to go from there. For selecting the appropriate age ratings for your channel, you can also edit this at a different time should you choose to do so in the future. So if something changes in your channel, you can actually edit this on existing channels and everything. So don't worry too much if this isn't the end all be all if you choose a certain specific channel rating, but if you need to edit it, you can in the future. And then the next step in creating your channel is the localization part, which is probably the most exciting. This is where you really get into the differences between the US and German channel stores. On this page here, you'll see that there's a couple options underneath English that are specific for German. This is because I've selected the German channel store in a couple slides ago that you saw as one of the channel store regions that I want my content to be on. Existing developers, to get to this page, you'll first have to go to the languages section in your developer portal and select German as a localization, and then this page will pop up for you. Over here on this page, you'll be able to provide any localized metadata that you have for your channel, channel artwork, descriptions, everything. First off, it'll be the channel name. The channel name is specific to the language that you listed under. So for English, it'll be in the US channel store. Your channel name will exist as that there. And then in Germany, if you want a localized channel name, you can put a different channel name down, and that'll be what shows up in the German channel store. For description, it's encouraged that you localize your description since you will be targeting a German audience in Germany. So if you want to localize your description, that's what will be showing up when a user searches for your channel in the channel store, and they navigate over to that more info section. They'll be able to see whatever localized or unlocalized description should you choose not to do so there. And then the web description finally will be what the user sees online when they're adding channels via the Roku website. And that can be the same as the in-channel description if you want, or it can be a little bit different. Just depends on what you want to input into that section. And then lastly, the channel poster part is what you'll be showing as your channel artwork in the Roku store. This can be the same thing as your US channel store channel poster, or it can be something completely different should you choose to market towards a German audience. One thing I do want to stress though is that if you do want your channel to show up in Germany, you will have to fill out this section and validate those fields where it says Germany or German, or else your channel may not show up in the German channel store. Because when channels exist on that on the German channel store, they do look for this specific these specific German fields that you fill out for channel name, description, and web description. So lastly, for creating your channel, there's a couple more things that you'll fill out. They're pretty streamlined. The last thing you'll fill out is pretty much just a support contact from your end, and then it'll prompt you to upload your channel package afterwards. From there on, you can upload the channel that you've been working and developing, and then just go ahead and click publish. It'll go through our publishing process, and then your channel will be on the German channel store for everyone to access. And then next, we'll be discussing some minor differences that we have with search in Germany. So first off, we'll talk about why would you want to be on search? Well, basically, it adds visibility to your channel. So for giving users more ways to access your content, search is a great way to promote that. So if you're adding search metadata to your channel, it's generally one of the best ways to promote your channel out there. It helps users find specific content inside your channel as well. If a user is searching for just a specific title on the home screen, they could go directly into your channel if they see that it's an option to view in your channel. And it gives a way for users to really streamline what they want to look for to watch. If your channel offers that type of content, then search is just a great way to make that one step easier. So in Germany, we have a small couple differences in search. You'll need to provide the FSF or FSK rating sources. These are localized German rating sources that you'll have to provide in your search metadata feeds. Roku's documentation for search goes more in depth into this on that documentation page for Roku search. You can see the listed rating sources that are on there, but these will be under the specific fields rating, and rating source. So you would either choose FSF or FSK as rating sources. If you don't fill out these search fields, your content will not show up in search. And this isn't as a metadata feed overall. Say you have a metadata feed and half the titles have search ratings. The titles that do have search ratings will show up, but we will be suppressing any titles that don't have search ratings. So just be pretty sure that you have title ratings in search if you want your content to show up. And then afterwards, once you've chosen FSF or FSK as a rating source, you'll be able to see under the Roku developer docs the actual specific age ratings that you can add, 12, 14, 16, and so on, for specific to the FSF and FSK rating sources. Once you've added those to your metadata feed, you can validate it from our end when you submit a search metadata feed, and then from there, your channel will be tested and approved for search. And it's pretty streamlined, it's pretty easy, and it's a great way to get your content out there for viewership. Next, we'll be discussing Roku Pay. Roku Pay is a little bit different in Germany, but we've mostly kept everything as similar as we could to our other regions, just to make it less confusing. To access the Roku Pay in-app purchase products page, you'll also go to your developer portal, and you'll go into the Manage in-channel products section. Under the Manage in-channel products section, you'll come to this this landing page. You can see here it's pretty much the same as we have it for every channel store, except there's this extra line there that says add product name in another language. This is how you're going to be localizing your products for whatever region you choose. Specifically, in this presentation, we're talking about Germany. So if you want to add German products, you'll select that field and you'll have the choice to add your products with localized names and descriptions. Roku does do a conversion rate, but should you choose to do your own, you can create new in-channel products. I believe the question was asked earlier in the Roku Pay presentation, but I'll highlight it again, is that one of the best ways to create new in-channel products will be to in the German channel store will be to create new in-channel products and select them as a Euro purchase currency. That way, you won't have to deal with any fluctuating values. So that is an option that we have inside this page when you add new products and you add product name in another language. And to localize your products in the channel, you'll for this specific example, we'll be using the get user country code function that is in our Roku API. And you can look more into that if you'd like, but I'll be showing a brief code snippet on the next slide to clear up maybe any confusion that you guys might have on how to do this from your end. So first off, we'll be getting started for your purchases in the app. You'll be starting off with this row device info object. This is something that we have in our developer docs. We have more information on this, but you'll be creating a device info object. And from there, on the device info object, you can call the get user country code function. What this does, and the main purpose of this, is to basically get knowledge back on what channel store a user is on and what region they're in. Say you want German products specific to Germany for your channel, but you also have the same channel existing in the US, but you only have one code base that's existing inside Roku's backend. So among that code, you would basically just call this query to see where a user's country code returns. And if they're in Germany, Should you choose to do so, you can offer the German products that you've created on the previous landing page. And if they're not in Germany, you can just choose to hide those. So this really helps customize whatever behavior you want your channel to have, to select for a user to purchase German in-app purchases or not. And if you want to list them all, then you can do that as well. This just provides a little bit more customizability to do that from your end. And I think that's about it. Everything is pretty streamlined for creating a channel in Germany. Everything's pretty similar. I made sure to discuss any small differences that we had, but really the big thing is that here at Roku, we're trying to make it as easy as possible for you to get a channel out there. So we didn't change too many things, and hopefully we had sorted out any confusion you may have had for publishing a channel in Germany, and then we'll be doing questions and answers now.
Excellent. Thank you, Christian. So we have about 7 minutes here. This session will wrap up at 11:45. So I am now going to share the Slido questions that we received. Some of these were preceded ahead of this event. I will call out, it looks like you actually answered this second question here around how to configure price points for euros, and it was answered in the Roku Pay session as well. So I'll go ahead and just clear that one out. And so I'll start with this question here. What happens if the content in my search feed does not have local content ratings? What if only some of the content is missing ratings and others have ratings?
Sure, definitely. So Roku, in the German market, we will be suppressing any titles that don't have local content ratings. This is in Roku search. So if they're on the home screen and you submitted a metadata feed without any local content ratings, even if you submitted a metadata feed with that title inside that metadata, your title will not show up in Roku search if it's missing those local content ratings. So I can't stress enough to make sure that you have those content ratings existing in your metadata. And should you have a feed, say half your titles have localized content ratings and half of them don't, it will still show up in search for the content that does have content ratings. But if you don't have them for some of the titles, those won't show up. So if you can't get all your titles to have content ratings, if you're having some trouble with that on your end, that's perfectly fine. Just know that the titles that don't have them won't show up and the titles that do will.
Right. And I'll just add to that quickly. The reason we're suppressing the content that doesn't have content ratings is due to German regulations. So you'll notice that's not something we do in other regions, but we are doing it in German for regulatory reasons.